curious here. I'm going to ask some other questions, but I'm getting curious in terms of the spaces that you create. How are you tailoring and really creating the opportunities for the distance that you're looking to basically shorten the distance and increase the connection?
I have to say I'm struggling with that a little bit. Even just on Zoom, which is just the medium I've worked with for the last couple of years, I think there's just this fatigue that everyone has these days. And, I have a like community that I've set up on Facebook, but only, half the people have joined. I think just because there also is fatigue with that too, and just this constant, um, like, look at this, look at this, look at this. And I try to provide value through it and connection through it. And the people who are in it are very engaged and, getting to know each other and connected. But then, like, but why isn't everyone wanting to engage? Womp womp, Um, but I feel the same thing too. Like I feel like I'm in front of screens so much these days, and that was the way I designed my practice. I wanted a location independent practice, and to be able to work with people all over the world. And that's what I have. But right now, it's just like even when I talk to my friends, it's through Zoom. When I talk to anyone, it's through Zoom, unless I have a social distance, like in the park planned. And that's my struggle right now. And I feel like a lot of us are having this struggle.
Um, I'm taking note here of some through lines that have come through in our conversation, even so far. Um, One of the things that you were talking about was it was about energizing or re-energizing. Like one of my goals of this conversation is to be re-energized. Then when I talked about what would be a world-changing conversation, it went straight to Zoom fatigue, then like Facebook fatigue. So like energy right now, I think it's a place that we should be spending some time on here. In terms of engagement and all that, I think we can come back to that. But I like the question that comes to my mind right now, Ria, is like, well, actually, no. Let me slow down because I can feel myself in consultant mode, and I would rather like just check in with you. So when I call out the fatigue and the energy element, how much like where's the resonance for you? Does that resonate as something that is yeah? I'd be curious. I'll be curious what comes to mind once I call that out.
It's honestly both right now because I feel like I am energized by connecting with people even through Zoom, where it's a very deep and meaningful connection. But I think just physically and like my eyes and just there is that fatigue with just sitting here and focusing on the screen where you're all like these little blocks and like that sort of deeper desire to just want to be present, more present than like on the little screen where there it's both. It's both and, right?
See, I get really curious about that here. Would you be interested in having a conversation around this, like, and just to explore this in terms of what would suit you and your community?
Yeah.
Would that be the most powerful thing for you in this moment to discuss?
Yeah. It's something that I'm thinking about a lot.
All right, awesome. So, okay, I'm getting like the world that's around. There's fatigue, there's energy, there's strain, there's like that we're in this Zoom environment. There's another thing that I want to also just kind of call out that I still haven't figured out yet. You've made it a point to share that you've always been in the Zoom context, or like, not always, but for you've been building your business in the Zoom context. You've been there already, and there's there seems to be something that's important around the fact that like this is how I was doing it. And now there's even more Zoom there. What's the importance of that it's come up each time you've described this?
Okay, well, I think that there was definitely a shift from I'm looking forward to this. And, Zoom is kind of a novelty, and the majority of my interactions are in real life. And then I get to connect with someone in Berlin via Zoom and work with them, and that's really cool. Whereas now it's oh, I connect with everyone over Zoom, and it's like all day, every day. And it's not this like fun, I'm looking forward to it thing anymore.
Got you. Tell me more about like the novelty. Like, how does novelty play out for you?
Um, I don't know if novelty was the correct word choice there. It's more of a sort of a breaking of the day, but there's a variation to the rhythm of the day, or a variation to the week, and just, things to look. Yeah, I mean, there's this element um, of not differentness, but there's a variation. And I think that with COVID, everything's gotten a lot flatter.
Yeah. Awesome. So like I would love to play a little bit with you here, from the standpoint of like I get the status quo. Like generally speaking, things are much flatter. I hear things like Zoom fatigue, and it puts a smile on my face because before there was Zoom fatigue, there was meeting fatigue, and like people are like they're like I just have all these meetings and I'm tired of all the meetings here, and I put a smile on my face because I'm like, oh, people have just they've taken this thing that they didn't like in person, and then they just like kind of like ported it over to this like virtual environment and have created more like that. They found a way to take that and bring it into this space, here. And it's funny, as someone who considers myself OG, when it comes to Zoom, I'm like karate chop, get that out of here. Don't be bringing in that like that is not what like that's not what I wanted this Zoom experience to be, you know. And so there's an element here that I would love to play with you if you're to really see what would be three-dimensional again, maybe even more than three dimensions. What would be five senses? What are some ways that we can like bring that variation back into the work that we do that is not, I don't know. As one of the people who came on to Zoom because it was cool, not because it was a necessity here. I There's an element that I get really curious about. What would be novel, cool variation for you? What's the way that you would want to do it now? That such that so just that you don't just get swept in because more people have come onto this platform and we're almost defaulting into the way that they had approached. We're just getting started. Click on the link below to watch the full conversation and go to niyamaashawn.com/tribe to get additional resources and exclusive invitation to tribe only events. Journey on.